So, this happened over 20 years ago. I was driving back home with my girlfriend at the time. It was Christmas Eve, and my mother's family used to hold a large celebration at my aunt's house in Estacada. This was my girlfriend's first time meeting with my extended family, but she got on quite well with them. We spent the majority of the afternoon and evening talking, playing poker, opening presents, and drinking an assortment of adult beverages. My girlfriend had been quite drunk by the time we had to leave. Therefore, I'd be driving us home. It was around 11 p.m. or so. I was driving my girlfriend's car along Highway 211. Now, this stretch of road is surrounded by farms and dense patches of forest, and parts of it are unlit. But nothing to fear. I grew up in this area, so I knew this road like the back of my hand. Both of us were just driving and talking away, just two young lovers making the most of our moments together. There is a proportion of the highway that descends an enormous hill before crossing Deep Creek. Surrounding both sides of the road are thick forests. There are no lights. The only thing we could see was the area directly in front of our headlights. I drive down the hill, cross the bridge, and uphill through more forest. It's as the highway starts to flatten out that it happens. Something sprints across the road so suddenly that I almost hit whatever it was. I slam on the brakes. I turned to my girlfriend and asked if she saw it. She confirmed that she had, but she couldn't make out what it was. Maybe it was a coyote, and they are a fairly common sight in this area. But something felt off about it. Whatever it was that ran in front of the car disappeared into the woods, next to the road. Coyotes don't usually just drat out in front of cars, not like that anyway. So, for some reason, I decided to check it out. I turned the car around and switched on the high beams to better light up the forest in which this thing had vanished. I step out of the car and walk towards the woods. I don't see anything, but now it feels like perhaps I made a grave error. My heart is pounding, and the hairs on the back of my neck are standing at full attention. But I still don't see anything unusual in the trees. Suddenly, the car's horn blasts. It's not a beep, beep, beep that you'd get if, say, your driver or passenger wanted you to hurry up and get in the car. No, this was a long, blaring beep. I walked back into the car and asked my girlfriend why she leaned on the horn like that. She said nothing. Instead, she pointed to a spot about 50 feet from where I was standing. I looked over in that direction, and that's when I saw it. Surely this was the thing that ran in front of our car. It was a man. He was completely naked. His skin was covered in dirt and mud, and in one of his hands, he was holding a hatchet. He looked back at us, and then he smiled and waved to us just before turning around and walking back into the forest. Needless to say, we got the hell out of there. Once we were safely driving again, my girlfriend explained what had just happened. While I was trying to look for the man in the area he initially vanished in, he circled back around and came out from another spot in the forest, beyond my car headlights. My girlfriend had seen something out of the corner of her eye, and that's when she saw him. Before she honked the horn, he was walking towards me, his hatchet raised, as if making to strike me. We called the authorities once we got safely back home, but they never found anybody, or they did. and just didn't tell us. But the officer we spoke to explained his theory. The man was looking to ambush unsuspecting lone travelers for Lord only knows what reason. We all agreed that my girlfriend's quick thinking saved my life, as it let my potential killer know that I wasn't alone up there. I moved back into the area recently, where I now drive that highway often. No naked hatchet man sighting yet, but I can tell you that I'm extra vigilant now, especially near Deep Creek. This happened a few years ago while I was still in high school. I was 17 at that time. I grew up in a small town, and my mother, sister, and I had moved to a larger city. I was home alone with my little sister, who was 3, as my mom regularly worked night shifts, and I was a built-in babysitter. It was winter, just before Christmas. So, by 5 p.m., it was essentially dark outside. This happened at around 9 p.m. I would let my little sister stay up late with me, and once she has fallen asleep, cuddling with me on the couch, I would move her to her room. It helped to eliminate her temper tantrums about bedtime. So we were lying on the couch when our dog started to lose her mind. Our dog was a big floppy basset hound named Matilda. She was extremely sweet and would rarely ever bark. But at this point, she's growling, and the fur on her back is standing up. I immediately knew something very wrong was happening, and I picked up my sister and brought her to the washroom, which had no windows. I sat her in the tub and told her not to move, and I locked the door from the inside and shut it. I go back to the living room, my sister safe and sound, and grab my cell phone, ready to call for help if I needed, to when someone starts banging on my door like crazy. I look through the peephole, and I see a man standing outside, his face covered in blood. Matilda is still losing her mind, and she's trying to force herself between me and the door. My heart is pounding in my ears, and it feels like my stomach is about to fall out of my butt. And I have no idea what to do, so I moved away from the door and just stand there silently freaking out. The banging gets louder, and then I start to hear voices and yelling, and this guy is pleading with me to open the door. I go and look into the peephole again, and there's another guy there beating on the blood-covered guy. At this point, I am a small, defenseless 70-year-old girl, and there are 2 seemingly large men outside, one of which is beating the crap out of another guy covered in blood, as he's begging me to let him in my house. I finally call 911. I gave them the necessary information while I'm shaking uncontrollably, and they send police, fire, and ambulance. I genuinely don't think I made any sense during that phone call. I'm surprised they were able to narrow down what my address was. When the scene was finally taken care of, a police officer knocks on my door. We later found out the buddy guy had jumped a block or 2 away and was beaten pretty badly. He made a run for it and made it to my house. The dude that was assaulting him caught up with him. At this point, my dog is still going ballistic. My toddler sister is locked in the bathroom, crying hysterically, and I feel like I'm about to die from how much adrenaline is pumping through my body. I open the door for them, and see a part of the front door is covered in blood from the hurt guy pounding on it. And I just break down. I'm still shaking and shivering from everything, and I start to sob hysterically. I manage to get my dog to relax enough to let the other officers come inside, and they help me get my sister out of the bathroom. They call my mom at work to tell her what happened. They take my statement about the whole ordeal and stay with my sister and me until my mom gets home. Needless to say, that night, my mom, my sister, and I all slept in my mother's room. In hindsight, I know the hurt guy wasn't trying to scare me or hurt my sister or me. He was trying to get help, and I felt terrible that I didn't let him in. But still, bloody-faced guy and bad man, I hope I never see you again.